me tonight out front, completing the cycle.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
To the source.
Love. Big love. Always.
Such an inspiration.
Fucking hip hop right here, yo. Hip hop right here.
One of them ones, man. Salute.
Always.
His mind, his pen, his mind, his artistry, everything in him. I respect, dig, and love the hell out of it.
The coolest nigga what? The coolest nigga what? Haha. Please hit the like button before we start this audio visual journey. Alright, you done? Let's go. But being original in hip hop is very rare these days, as everyone sounds the same and copying flows, basically copy and paste rappers. But these two artists were able to stand out very drastically and change the game in every aspect, which their influences can still be heard through some of your favorite artists today. But what are they up to now? Lupe Fiasco. Yo, on some real stuff, Lupe was our Kendrick Lamar before Kendrick blew up. Lyrically better, more intricate with the bars, double and triple entendres, and was also a conscious rapper from a mad city, Chicago. But that's a conversation for another day. Lupe was practicing his rap skills as a young teen, but at 19 is when he took it very serious and had joined a group called The Pack, which they ended up signing to Epic Records and released their first and only song called Armpits. Man, I just listened to this song and you can tell Lupe was experimenting with his style, because they're rapping about robbing niggas, hoes in the club, and gun talk. Just a straight mess. And he knew it himself that he wasn't keeping it real. As he explains, we had a song out about cocaine, guns, and women, and I would go to a record store and look at it and think, what are you doing? I felt like a hypocrite. I was acting like this rapper who would never be judged, and I had to destroy that guy. Because what Lupe Fiasco says on this microphone is gonna come back to Wasulu Jaco. When the music cuts off, you have to go home and live with what you say. Well, so grand opening, grand closing for his gangster rap days, as he focused more on words and lyricism. He kept working and had released a demo tape song called Could've Been, and a song got him a lot of recognition, which got him discovered by MTV and also got him his first solo deal at Arista Records. But not long after he was signed, he was dropped when LA Reid got fired, because that's who he had a good relationship with that helped put him on. While at Arista Records, he met Jay-Z, who was very fond of Lupe and his skills and even wanted to sign him, but Lupe had declined and wanted to do his own thing and continued to grow his own label, First and 15.
You know what I mean? You had a chance to sign with Jay-Z. You know what I mean? You spit for Hov. You could have signed with Hov, but instead you opted to go with, I guess, Arista first, and then you ended up getting your label deal with Atlantic. In hindsight, if you could have did it all over, would you have signed with Hov, or what made you not go with Hov as opposed to, you know what I mean, doing your own thing?
Nah, I wanted to sign with him.
You wouldn't sign with him?
No.
Okay.
For the simple fact that, like, at that time, I was more like Hov than I was like just a regular artist, because I had my own company.
Mm-hmm.
So when we went to Rockefeller, we had a company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, it was like we need a merger as opposed to you just signing one of the star talents.
Okay.
And, you know, like taking our brain trust and giving it to you. It's like, nah, like we want to do something a little bit more beneficial to both parties, I guess.
So even though he didn't sign with Jay-Z, Jay helped to get him a record deal at Atlantic Records. While working on his debut album, he put out a mixtape called Fahrenheit 115, and one of the songs he remixed was Kanye West's Diamonds from Sierra Leone, called Conflict Diamonds, and he killed it, so much to the point it got Kanye's attention and featured him on his second album, Late Registration, on the song Touch the Sky, which would put Lupe in the mainstream spotlight. After catching steam, he soon dropped his first single, Kick Push. This song is very underrated and was very different than everything out, because a rap song that's a love story wrapped in a skateboard reference was like nothing we heard before, and also because he was really part of the skateboard culture and lifestyle, and the song took off. In the midst of this, he officially dropped his debut album Food and Liquor, and it would debut at number 8 on Billboard's 200 charts. He would follow up and drop singles like I Gotcha featuring Pharrell and Daydreamin' featuring Jill Scott. Yo, this album is a classic. The intro song alone, My Mama Said She Wanted Something Real, real. Oh man, that's my song. But this whole album is certified fire. Even Meek Mill agrees and says it's one of his favorite albums of all time. Lupe made sure to push the boundaries of wordplay and lyrics, and it can easily go over your head. The album would even get nominated for 3 Grammys, and he won a Grammy for Daydreaming for Best Urban Alternative Performance. So things was already looking up for Lupe going into a second album. That was until his father passed away and his business partner Chili Chill was convicted and sentenced to 44 years in prison for attempting to supply heroin to a drug ring. Man, I heard Chili Chill was really with the shits, so Lupe was in good hands, but he took 2 great losses at the wrong time. He would drop his first song off his second album called Superstar featuring Matthew Santos, and this song was very different than his others and had debuted at number 10 on Billboard's Hot 100. His second album, The Cool, was another good album, and this is actually my favorite of them all and had debuted at number 15 on Billboard's 200 charts. He had dropped singles like Hip Hop Saved My Life and Dumb It Down. Man, this album had too many bangers. Go Go Gadget Flow, Gold Watch, Streets on Fire, Paris Tokyo. God damn, one of the best albums ever of all time, period. Already working and on tour, he had finished his third album, which was called We Are Lasers at first, and had submitted it to the label, but they said they wasn't feeling it and he should try again. They were looking for more commercial songs, not all that lyrical miracle shit. He said the label had sent them a bunch of commercial songs and hooks already done, and all he had to do was the verses, but when he sent those back, it was also a problem. So there was all kinds of delays with this album, and they also wanted to put him in a 360 deal.
There's something called a 360 deal, which entails that they get 25% of any ancillary properties that you do that come from your music. So if I'm famous because of a song and that leads me to get a TV show or a sneaker, they think that they deserve 25% of that. I refuse to do that. Secondly, the record company should not be artists. The record company sent me a song and said, this is Lupe, you need a #1 smash. And this is a #1 smash, right? They sent me the track and the hook. And they sent me 7 of those. The last one, when I was like, I'm done fighting, I'm gonna just Martin Luther King this one. Just go ahead. You know, I'm gonna turn the other cheek. It's so ridiculous that when I recorded the verses and sent the record back to them, they called me back and said that they didn't like their own hook anymore and changed the hook 60 times. So when I'm sitting saying, if you think my records are whack, which is what they told me, they think I'm whack. What? So if you tell me that my records are whack, then give me great records. So then you give me these records, I send these records back to you, you don't even like your own records. Where does that leave us? Leaves us in a stalemate.
Lupe was fed up at this point, and his fans could feel his frustration, so the fans decided to start an online petition for Atlantic Records to release the album, and it got 30,000 signatures. Man, they were not playing, and took it further by going to the record label's office to protest, and they were calling it Fiasco Friday, and Lupe had heard of this and joined them in the streets. Lear Cohen, the CEO of Warner Music Group Atlantic at the time, seeing all the noise and commotion going on, had no choice and came out with the boombox playing Lupe's first single from the Lasers album. And not long after that, the single officially came out, which was The Show Goes On, and ended up being his biggest song as it peaked at number 9 on Billboard's Hot 100 and went 3 times platinum. And the funny thing is, even though it was his biggest song, he doesn't even like it and basically said he had to do the song in order to get the label moving about the album and that they're the ones who put the song together. He says in a Complex interview, there's nothing really to tell about the record, to be honest. I didn't have nothing to do with that record. That was the label's record. That wasn't like I knew the producer or knew the writer or anything like that. That was one of those records the record company gave me. They even gave me stuff they wanted me to rap about. It wasn't like, hey, I did this and I went to a mountain and found inspiration. I had to do The Show Goes On. That was like the big chip on a table. I had to do it. It had to be the first single if the record was gonna ever come out. So he had to do what he had to do, and it came out March 2011. This album was my least favorite, and you can tell Lupe had nothing to do with it. All these weird hooks and singing was just not it. As the second single, Words I Never Said, did not do well. Even though he still had his deep messages in the lyrics, the songs just weren't good to digest. Too commercial sounding from the Lupe we know of. But the album did good as it debuted at #1. His first #1 too, but Lupe hates this album. He would keep it pushing and dropped his fourth album, Food and Liquor 2, the Great American Rap Album, in 2012 and had debuted at #5 on Billboard's 200. And this was an okay album and it had some cool joints on it, but it was a cool album overall. In 2015, he released his fifth album, Tetsuo and Youth, but once again, in order to get that album out, he had to fight Atlantic Records. But this time, instead of getting help from the fans and petitions, the online hacker group Anonymous stepped in and said that Atlantic Records better give Lupe a release date for the album soon, or else they're gonna launch a serious cyber attack on a whole building. As they said in the tweet, Atlantic Records, if you do not comply, we will launch a direct attack against your website, your associates, and your executives. Aw, suck it now. They meant business, and in less than 24 hours later, Atlantic Records gave an official release date. They got punked by hackers. What? You telling me hackers had to threaten a label to release Lupe's music? Now that's power in music that we've never seen before.
You know, album release date. What's the release date? I don't know. What? Oh shit! But they know now. So now the fans know. They like, yo, we've been through this back 3 albums. Every album is this release date shenanigans. Okay, cool. Some of my fans happen to be computer hackers by the name of Anonymous. Right?
And they're fans of Lupe Fiasco.
And they just happen to be fans of Lupe Fiasco because of Occupy Wall Street.
Okay.
Right? So I don't know any of these
They
people.
don't want you to know who they are.
I didn't ask them to do anything. But once it became like hinted like there's no release date for Tetsuo and Youth, they at the time they were attacking, when I say attacking, like cyber attacking, like North Korea or something like that, the North Korean government, and like the Ku Klux Klan. So they was like, okay, pause that action. This is a hate. Atlantic Records. Because you know how they do their thing? Yeah. Atlantic with the dude with the beef and vendetta mask. For real. Atlantic Records. You have a history of blah, blah, blah with your artist. If you do not give Lupe Fiasco a release date within 24 hours for his album, we're going to dox and cyber attack Atlantic Records, Warner Music, and all of your subsidiary companies, employees, and everyone. But they're like, we finna dox everyone. DDoS attack, we finna shut down your servers, the whole shit. You got 24 hours. And like 24 hours later, it was like a release date. Like, I put out a release date. And they asked me, what did I want to do? And I'm going to keep it a buck. They was like, yo, Luke. I was like, I ain't got shit to do with this. So they put out a release date. Julie Greenwald called me, got in touch with Chill, was like, yo, not only that, here's the release date, but then also here's your release date.
Oh, wow. You got to go.
You got to get the fuck up out of here.
Was that good news for you?
And thank God this album came out because it's a very good album, probably my second favorite. Too many good songs like Mural, Body of Work, Chopper, Deliver, Man Oh Man, songs for days on this album. This would be his last contractual album with Atlantic Records, and now he was a free agent and independent. He would release 4 more albums at the time of this recording: Droga's Light in 2017, Droga's Wave in 2018, Drill Music in Zion in 2022, and Samurai in 2024, so he's definitely still active with music and still sharp. These days, he spends his time touring, speaking at events, spending time practicing martial arts, which he's been doing since he was a kid. And this dude has been beefing up. Pause. Lifting weights and karate? That's a dangerous combo. He's also a teacher at Johns Hopkins University Peabody Institute, and he's teaching rap as part of their bachelor's degree in music. Professor Fiasco dropping triple entendres on students. That should be very interesting. And he's also announced back in 2023 that his business partner Chili Chill is finally free and home, so that's good for both of them. So when people talk about Lupe, they need to put more respect on his name, because this guy is one of the best rappers ever and helped to usher in the backpack rappers and skateboarders to hip hop. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, but the real one knows what's up. The coolest nigga, what? Kid Cudi. My mind feels like ooh. too. Oh man. A pioneer in his lane that helped birth a new generation in sound. Cudi has been very influential as he also helped usher in mental health with his music, which saved many people's lives. He started his music journey towards the end of high school in 2003 in Ohio, his hometown, before he moved to New York in 2005 to live with his uncle who lived in the South Bronx, but then ended up moving in with his friend Dot, who was the producer. He had moved there to pursue music in hopes of getting a record deal being in the big city to give him a better chance. Him and his producer friend Dot, who he moved in with, started working on music because that was a passion for both of them, and this is how the Day and Night song was born, and he had uploaded it to his MySpace page, and the rest is history. The song was very catchy and a new type of sound, which was starting to get more plays and recognition on music blogs, so much that it got the attention of one of Kanye West's producer friends, Emily Haney, who was also friends with Kanye's manager producer at the time, Plain Pat. So with the Kanye connection, they started working on his debut mixtape, and Kanye would even ask Cudi to fly out to Hawaii to work on some music. Later that year, July 2008, he released his debut mixtape, A Kid Named Cudi, and with the Day and Night song already buzzing in heavy rotation, the mixtape was just as good. In the midst of all this, Kanye officially signed Kid Cudi to Good Music, and Kanye made sure to prepare him for his debut album, and would have Kid Cudi featured on a bunch of songs, like Jay-Z's Already Home, which he sang the hook, to working on Kanye's 808 Heartbreak album, and wrote or added vocals on the songs Heartless, Welcome to Heartbreak, Paranoid, RoboCop. Yo, Cudi was getting to work. Finally, in September 2009, he dropped his debut album, Man on the Moon, and had landed at number 4 on Billboard's 200. This album was a breath of fresh air and very much needed. A phenomenal album. It's his vulnerability that made it very relatable, and he has a lot of uplifting songs. With Day and Night still going strong, he followed up with singles like Poker Face and Pursuit of Happiness, and oh my god, that Pursuit of Happiness song took him to another level. Like I said, he was already making good uplifting songs, but this song took off and was featured everywhere. The album would be an instant classic and was even nominated for 3 Grammy Awards. Continuing his success, in November 2010, he dropped his second album, Man on the Moon 2, and would release singles like Erase Me featuring Kanye, Mr. Rager, Mojo So Dope. This is another album filled with album cuts that are like lead singles. His influence was officially stamped in the game. Now established, he wanted to try new sounds for fun, and he did the album Wizard that dropped in February 2012, who he did with his producer friend Dot the Genius. This was a rock album and not really one of my favorites, but I get it. Cudi is just like Kanye, where they will try extreme sounds and songs to experiment with, but this album was aight. His official third album, In the Cut, was released on April 2013 and debuted at number 2 on Billboard's Hot 200. This album was more up-tempo and fun, and he dropped singles like Just What I Am and King Wizard, among others. This was a okay album, not many songs I was crazy about, but it was still a solid project. And after this album, he would announce that he's leaving Good Music and said that it was on good terms. He was just ready to spread his wings and be on his own.
Made a big announcement earlier. Your reason for departure from the Good Music family.
I just felt like there was a shift in my creative ventures and things that I wanted to do, and I always, I've never been fully signed to Good Music. It's always been like a joint venture between me and Kanye.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like, yo, I got this label, you got your label, let's bring that together and let's kind of make work, So that was definitely what it's always been. And I just wanted to just do my own thing, man,
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, and I know that there's nothing wrong with that because I talked to Kanye about it, and he was just like, yes, do whatever the fuck you feel is right. Like, I don't blame you. I feel you on that.
He never stopped making music and released 7 official more albums after this, from 2014 to last year 2024, and in between that time had also released a collab album with Kanye called Kids See Ghost. But besides just music, Cudi was into other things such as acting, and he played a lot of minor roles such as in How to Make It in America, Two Night Stand, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and many other appearances, as well as directing some. He was keeping busy. One of the main reasons people were able to relate to Cudi was because his honesty about his depression and drug usage. He says he didn't start doing it until he got in the industry, but the lie detector says this nigga is lying about that. But in the 2013 interview, he talks about his addiction and says, For me, I just got to this point, and especially up until recently, I gave up liquor. I don't drink anymore. It's been 5.5 months I've been sober. The booze was a new thing for me. I didn't realize I was an alcoholic all these years. When I had my cocaine problem, I stopped cold turkey. I didn't go to rehab. I don't believe in these things. Some people need the extra help, but not me. I wasn't a drug addict before this crap. I wasn't doing cocaine. I wasn't getting wasted every night because I didn't want to be alone. Man, this nigga is still lying. He been on that white powder on and off for a long time now. Allegedly. Shit, remember that one time he was damn near passed out, falling down trying to walk? What the Future say? I'ma fuck around and faint like I'm Kid Cudi probably. But with fame and money, you're now able to afford more of it in abundance, and it's even easier to get access to them. And this interview was back in 2013. 3 years later, in 2016, he would admit himself into rehab for cocaine addiction. In this long post message, he confesses about checking into rehab and gets very vulnerable. He says, "Yesterday I checked myself into rehab for depression and suicidal urges. I am not at peace. I haven't been since you've known me. If I didn't come here, I would have done something to myself. I am simply a damaged human swimming in a pool of emotions every day of my life. There's a raging violent storm inside my heart at all times. I don't know what peace feels like." And months later, after getting out of rehab, he made a post thanking fans about Pursuit of Happiness song going diamond. 10 million records sold. Woo! And as he was reflecting, he spoke on a time at rehab and said, "I was in rehab when a Frequency video came out. I shot it, then went on a 2-week cocaine run. Edited the video sneaking into the bathroom to do bumps. Then I woke up one day and said, I'm gonna die if I don't change things. So I made sure things changed." On a Joe Rogan interview, he explains why he quit.
Nah, it was just more like, this is not Scott Mescudi. How in the hell did I let this become Scott Mescudi? How in the do I got people looking at me like I'm not Scott Mescudi? And I know what it was, and I know how to fix that. And I went and made it. I didn't like how people were looking at me at that moment in time.
So they were looking at you like you're a coke fiend.
Yeah, crazy, cracked out dude. Like everywhere I would go, it was just these looks. And I was just like, man, I just did a little blow. What the fuck, you know? Get off my back, you know what I mean? Like, y'all mother acting like y'all ain't never did a bump. Get out of here, man. Like, it was so, I was just like, are you kidding me?
People love to be sanctimonious.
Yeah, but that's the thing. When it happened, I wasn't like, on, the next Complex interview I did, like, I have a statement that I issue here. This camera, okay.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry to all my fans for you guys knowing that I do cocaine now, or I used to. I don't do it anymore. I'm sorry if I let anyone down. That. It was really just like, I'm dealing with some shit. If you don't understand it, I don't give a f. This is how I was surviving. If I didn't do it, I would have blew my brains out.
So as of now, the time of this recording, he's been sober and taking care of his health. And always known to express himself freely, I remember this dude wearing dresses, and it was several times too. He was getting killed for it. He had wore a wedding dress on a red carpet holding hands, looking very fruity. And he also wore it on Saturday Night Live and says he was paying tribute to Kurt Cobain. Yo, get the fuck out of here with that. Enough is enough with the dresses. Just say you like wearing them and you might be a little gay. It's okay, dog. But someone had responded to Cudi wearing the dress and said, "Is this another proud moment?" And Cudi snapped back at him and responded saying, "Dear Isaac, you silly stupid little person and all people under this post. It's the start of a new year and I got time for people like you today. This post is mad effing lame of you and sad. A black man can express himself and be confident and successful without it being some conspiracy. My success was given to me by God with the help of many angels. All you people in the comments that have been tweeting me all day about this shit can gargle on my mayo. This moment was a proud moment for me, a shining moment for all people who express themselves freely in their art. I felt free and alive. It inspired people and nothing you stupid asses said can and take away from me. Happy New Year, effing simps." Well, sir, if you were so comfortable, why the hell did you go off on him like that? That person paid for everyone's sins of criticizing Cudi for saying yes to the dress. But it is what it is and doesn't take away from the music. These days, he's still working on music and says that he's currently working on a new album, so his passion for it has never left. He just got added to Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore 2 movie, which should be coming out in July, and it's good to see him in good spirits and living life freely, because he has always felt like he was alone, but he's looking very healthy. Both Cudi and Lupe have changed a generation and birthed in a new sound and wave. With Cudi, he birthed a new wave of artists like Playboy Carti, Lil Yachty, Juice WRLD, Denzel Curry, Travis Scott, and many, many more. Lupe is one of one, and there's not many rappers that can out-rap him in terms of painting a picture with words. And he's also influenced a new generation of rappers, such as J. Cole, Logic, Ab-Soul, J.I.D., Kendrick Lamar, among many others. Because his complex, socially conscious, lyrical, vicious wordplay is like no other. And after doing this video, it made me come to the realization that true fans of Lupe and Cudi were robbed of a song or album collaboration. Cause what? Can you imagine the crazy melodies, humming and moods you get from Cudi mixed with Lupe's deep thought-provoking storytelling and complex triple-double entendres? Oh man, this album would have been lit. But it's sad that they never even made a song together. Like what? That's nuts. But these two have not always been on the best of terms and had beef. In many interviews, both of them have always spoke highly of each other, as Cudi said in a Complex interview how Lupe was one of the ones that looked out for him when he was on his drug binge. Cudi says to Complex, besides the family and Yeezy and Don C, there's one artist in the game who has always had my back and had nothing but love to show, and that's Lupe Fiasco. Every time I see that man, it's nothing but love. I saw him a little after it and he was like, I'm worried about you, man, just checking in. He's somebody who I know genuinely gives a damn. But Cudi is the one that started the beef, cause back in 2014, Lupe was trying different ways to please and give back to his super loyal fans and offered to do one personal verse for them for $500 on whatever subject they want. And looking back at this, I would have loved to pay Lupe for a personal verse about myself if I had the money. So honestly, this was a good personal gift to the fan purchasing. Lupe says, I will personalize a one verse song for you. $500. You pick the instrumental, mood, and subject. One physical copy, which you must come pick up cash on demand. You got people out here paying $1,000 for Chris Brown meet and greet photos, but a whole personal verse and I get to meet Lupe in person? He was definitely onto something. But Kid Cudi saw it different and blasted Lupe about doing this and tweeted, what are you doing with the money you're making from this, Lupe? Are you giving some of this money you're about to make to charity? Or Lupe tweeted back saying, love you, Cudi. How much did your Giuseppe Xanatos cost to make at the factory? But they're retailing at what again? The Cutter Special. To my fans, if any one of you buys a pair of Kid Cudi Xanatos, the personalized verse is free of charge. Lupe was straight clowning because he was talking about the Kid Cudi shoes, which they're selling from $300 to $700 for a damn shoe. Then Cudi responded back saying, to my fans, I don't know about this Lupe 500 verse shit. You should support his album, but this idea seems a bit sketchy. Do what you want though. Man, Cudi was straight hating on Lupe for no reason. It had nothing to do with him, but to shit on someone you're close to idea? That was foul of Cudi. And they had several incidents that pissed Lupe off. As he explains in the Sway interview, he wanted to smack the fire out of Cudi.
What happened, if you don't mind me asking, with you and Cudi? But you was talking about why you don't support those who supported you when the music business was ripping you apart. What was that?
When Cudi was running around here going crazy, drugs and all that crazy shit, and I know that certain people, when they get fame really quick, it'll tear you apart, it'll fuck you up. So we cool. Maybe a year ago, I told my fans like, yo, if you want a Lupe verse, I'll write it for you for $500. It'll be yours. You can't put it on Twitter. It's yours. Like, it's yours. And Cudi went on Twitter and was like, yo, Lupe, what you gonna do with that money? I'm like, nigga, it's $500. What you talking about? I'm thinking he joking. I'm like, bro, what you mean? What you gonna do with your money? Or the same thing I do with verses that I don't personalize for niggas. And I look at what this nigga wrote and he like, yo, Lupe trying to swindle his fans. I would never do my fans like that. That sound like some bullshit. It sound like he trying to rob niggas and do all this other shit. And Barry's right there, my right hand of God, the first person I called Barry. I said, yo, give me this Cudi number. If I see him, I'm knocking him the fuck. Cause I want to get to the bottom of what the you talking about. Because it's me. The same nigga you went in Complex and was like one of the only niggas who reached out to me genuinely and had love for me was Lupe, but now I'm some thief. Now I can't find you, right? And then you come back with trying to tell niggas how to act and operate themselves in the business. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Don't treat your friends like your enemies. Don't turn around and hit on niggas' names. It ain't had nothing to do with you. I was like, yo, if I see this nigga, I'ma try and snatch his teeth out. So, you know, Cudi, let's settle this. Like, talk to me if I f you up.
And they had some more back and forths after that. But fast forward to 2024, when Cudi was getting ready to release his album Insano, they had squashed the beef. Mainly Cudi saying sorry to Lupe. Cudi tweeted, just talked to Lupe, had a great talk. I know I was wrong and told him I shouldn't have did that fuck shit I did. I called myself looking out for the fans in the moment, but in reality I was just hating. I apologized and he accepted it, which I appreciated for real. I understand. And Lupe retweeted it saying, sincerely appreciated my guy, peace and blessings. And Cudi responded back saying, love you my G, I'm sorry if I hurt you man, life is too short, hope you can find it in your heart to get past this. And Lupe said, love my brother, love. And this was very good to see for the real fans of both of them, and hopefully this can get them back on track to do a song or an album, cause damn, this beef messed it all up. Mr. Kick, Push, and the Man on the Moon have come a very long way and paved the path for a whole new generation to pass down. These two were very much influential in very different ways, from introspective challenging thoughts to off-key crooning melodies. They were both amazing for hip-hop and came in at the right time. I'm glad that everything is good and everyone is good and doing their thing, and they're aging like real OG should in the rap game. Yeah man, respect to both of them, and I'm definitely gonna keep my ears open for a future album or a song or something, you know? Come on man. But yeah man, make sure to support me by hitting the like button if you made it this far. Thank you guys for watching the video, I dearly appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.